What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another War Thunder video. Today we're taking out the AMX-30 B2 Brenus. This is a fascinating little tank. This is part of the French tech tree at battle rating 8.7. Just look at this little thing. Look at all the stuff that it's got on it. It's got smoke launchers, it's got ERA armor, it's got a laser rangefinder, it's got everything you could want except for a stabilizer. And at battle rating 8.7, you're going to be outclassed by literally everything. The lack of a stabilizer at this BR it's unforgivable, honestly. The challenge you have is primarily going to be up against the new top tiers at 9.3. But make no mistake about it, even the old top tiers at 9.0 are better than this thing. The KPZ-70, MBT-70, the Chieftain Mark 10, all are much better tanks. Not only do they have better mobility, well, perhaps the Chieftain Mark 10 doesn't have better mobility. This is much better, but the Mark 10 has better armor. The armor on this is inadequate. It does have good maneuverability, good mobility, but you really hurt when it comes to being able to defend yourself. The Brenus does have ERA. It protects you against 400 millimeters of chemical energy munitions, which, it's good if you're at, say, battle rating 7.7, but you're not. You have 5 millimeters of protection against kinetic energy, so basically anything will go through, will punch through the armor. APF-SDS is the king at this battle rating. 400 millimeters of kinetic energy doesn't even fully protect you. It doesn't guarantee you full protection against even the Leopard 1s, which have at best 400 millimeters of penetration. And the Leopard, I find, goes through the armor roughly 50% of the time. Goes right through the ERA. The ERA it's inadequate at this battle rating. It really is like a waste of weight on this tank. So how do you play the Brenus? You got a tank that has good mobility, a good gun, no stabilizer, mediocre armor. You're gonna have to do one of two things. You're either gonna have to sit back in the back of the map and snipe, or you're gonna have to use your mobility and flank. And on Maginot, I like to flank and do a little bit of sniping, because this is semi-long range. Got a T-64 hanging out in the back of the map, side-shot him in the ammo, and then I would turn my attention to the back of the map even further, because my ally marked up here further. Now, it's not unusual for Leopards and T-64s to hang out up here, use the ridgeline, and snipe over the alpha cap. I've run into this. I nearly got shot in the back of the turret using the same approach earlier in the day, so I know people like to come up here, but I don't see anyone. I don't want to abandon this area, go back to A to cap, and end up getting shot in the back of the turret by someone who I didn't pursue. So we're going to flank as far as we can, within the map border, of course. So while we're doing the little flank run, let me talk about the BR. At 8.7, you're going to get up tiered probably 75% of the time, and then get down tiered the other 25%. Facing Leopards isn't so bad, but Heat FS will go right through this pretty regularly. The up tiers is where it gets difficult. Facing Abrams, which I don't get why this has to face Abrams or T-64Bs, because these are, in my opinion, completely different tanks. These are like two completely different generations of technology, and yet 8.7 faces 9.3 all the time because we don't have enough players or enough tanks at 9.3 to fill the matchmaker. or we don't have enough 8.3 and 8.7 and 9.0 tanks to be sacrificial lambs to the new 9.3 top dogs. Because that's essentially what you are against an Abrams in the AMX-30 B2 Brenus. Is you're a sacrificial lamb. You are an RP piñata, you know, to use a phrase people used to use when referring to bombers in ARB. Here we go. We finally got a target. So apparently the guy who was marked up here, it was a wrong mark. Someone misjudged the map, marked the wrong area. Not a big surprise. Now I'm firing APF-SDS as my primary shell. The heat shell that you get as the stock shell is pretty good, but I prefer the APF-SDS shell. The reason being it has a slightly higher muzzle velocity, which allows you to more easily aim long distance shots. At least in my experience. I mean, you could have a different experience. But one of my other favorite aspects about the APF-SDS is the, unlike with the heat, you don't have to worry about the shell getting eaten up by fences or trees or what have you. And some of the maps that we have now in 1.77, there are a lot of trees. We have a lot of maps that have the magical, mystical force, like the expanded maps on Poland and Eastern Europe. It's just ridiculous the number of trees we have to deal with. And the last thing you want to do is fire your shell at a tank and the tree end up eating it. Next up, we find ourselves on Eastern Province. This is an expanded map of Eastern Europe. This is one of those maps that has the magical forest that I was talking about earlier. And we're going to use a different approach. We're going to snipe. Right out of the gate, I find the tank in the distance. It's a Leopard. I didn't have time to range find him, so I just guessed at the range, and what do you know? You get the driver in the first shot. He pops smoke. Second shot takes out his tank tracks, and I just continued to pump him full of shots. The second shot was, excuse me, the second shot was probably the luckiest because as soon as his driver gets replaced, he would have been able to move. But now that his tracks are down, he has to repair, and I'm able to play whack-a-mole with the crew members. Take him out. That's the Leopard A1A1. It's a pretty nice tank to be taking out at the start of a game. The match would very slowly develop. I would push up a little bit and try to find something else. There was a shot way out in the distance. It's the same player that I killed earlier. He's in a Leopard. I'm just waiting for the dust to settle down so I can actually get a good view on him. Estimate the range and perfect hull break. This was, unfortunately, one of the more boring matches, so we're going to cut right to the next one. But you did get an opportunity to see what the gun can do at distance. In my experience, it's quite accurate. Now, in our third battle, we're on Advance to the Rhine, Domination. They've capped Alpha. We've capped Bravo, of course. And I'm trying to find some sort of action. So far, I haven't found anything except for over here. Got a friendly who's engaging something. And he goes down. That's unfortunate. T-64, so we should be able to handle him if we can find him. My plan is to go around to the right and flank him. I know he's over here to my left on the opposite side of this large rubble pile. Problem is, I don't want to give my position away by knocking down these wall sections to my left. I'm waiting to see if he's going to push up my way or if he's going to go towards Alpha. We managed to decap Alpha, and here he goes. He's reversing, and my team gets. Well, that worked. I don't mind that. The enemy is on Bravo now. They've pushed the back roads, and look at this. We got more guys. These guys are headed right towards our spawn if we're not careful. Take out his cannon breach. There's a second one behind him. He uses his ESS, his engine smoke system, to try to mask himself, but sorry, my man, you're not getting away. The T-64A, second guy pushes around the backside. Mark him on the map so my teammates know that there's an enemy back here. Try to find where he is. Be really good if he knew where I was. He could very easily set up an ambush situation. Problem is I've lost him. All right, somebody knows where he is. Let's push him. Oh, he's in this little alcove. Shoot him in the lower front plate, set him on fire, take out his engine. We'll push around the backside. Stop, 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 stop. Challenger. Alright, Challenger, you stay here. Alright, he's popping smoke on the right side and the left side. That's smart play. Alright, I want the Challenger to stay where he is. And I'm going to go around the left side. I want to sandwich him in. I want the Challenger to stay where he is and basically set up an ambush. And so if the Challenger is, or excuse me, if the T-64 is looking at me, I want the Challenger to push it. But if he's looking at the Challenger, I want to push it. But I need to see where he is, and I can't do that until the smoke clears. We just chill and wait for the smoke to disappear. Where are you? He's looking towards the Challenger. I push him, and the Challenger was... What kind of a hitbox is that, guy? That wasn't even close to the rubble pile. Oh, the Challenger goes down. He was way too aggressive. He should have waited. Alright, T-64 is doubling back. Set up an ambush. Drives right by in front of me. And one shot. I love the shell. I love the gun. The Brenus is a really good tank in this sort of position where you're playing an ambush, you're flanking. There's not really any sniping on this map to be had, as it's really close quarters combat. An enemy on B, so we're going to head towards B, but obviously not directly because we don't want to put on that main road and give the enemy tank an easy one-shot opportunity. Because remember, unlike most of the vehicles you face, the weak spot on the Brenus is basically the entire thing. you have to really pick and choose where you shoot a lot of your enemy tanks. The T-64 is pretty easy to kill. The Leopard 2K is easy as well, but the Abrams and the T-64 B, they both have very small weak spots, and that's what makes those vehicles very difficult to deal with, because not only do they have those small weak spots, they also have gun stabilizer, so they can just come around the corner at 30 kilometers an hour and one-shot you. And unless you're perfect with your shot, you're dead. So the enemy tank on B is down. We're just going to push in, recap, and get the win. Because their players are predominantly in the spawn in SPA, as well as a couple of planes that are going to be up in just a little bit. And while I get into once I get into the cap, you can see one of my favorite parts of this tank is the smoke system. You don't have ESS or engine smoke system, but you do have smoke grenades. You have 28 of them to be exact. And they launch 4 at a time. So you can very easily and very effectively smoke the entire map. The only way they can come is down this main road from A. And of course no one ends up coming because they're all in the spawn and in the air, so I'm not under any threat. But this is just to demonstrate the effectiveness of the smoke. I love it. It's an excellent modification to unlock. And so with that, let's go ahead and wrap up the Brenus. In a nutshell, the Brenus in a vacuum is a very nice tank. But that's not the way we judge tanks now, is it? We have to put this against other tanks. We have to compare it against the T-64B, the T-64A, the Abrams, the KPZ and MBT-70s. And the Brenus is a decidedly mediocre tank because of one flaw, that is the lack of a stabilizer. A lot of the weaknesses with this vehicle can be shared with the Leopard 2K. You know, it's a fast, agile, poorly armored tank, but it has a stabilizer. I've been killed by the Leopard 2K numerous times because it has a stabilizer. It's not a matter of can you pen the Leopard 2K's armor. You can, just as you can pen this armor. It's being able to actually hit the damn thing when you turn around a corner. A stabilizer isn't so much about being able to hit something when you're on the move at 30, 40, 50 kilometers an hour. It's just even small speed movements that are constantly making making your suspension do work, which in turn makes your gun go up and down, up and down, up and down like a roller coaster ride. It's a huge deal, and it really makes this tank feel mediocre in comparison to everything else you faced on the battlefield. Anyway guys, that's going to do it for me. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button, and of course if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Take care guys.